Zamfara government releases names of commissioners and their portfolios. Representatives move to split Justice Minister and AGF. NDLEA destroys 1,669 kg of illicit drugs worth over 1 billion naira in Nasarawa State. On business, a non-governmental organization calls for a review of the January 2020 deadline on the implementation of the tax identification number. On sports, Nigerian head coach wants Ejaria to declare for Super Eagles. On the international scene, South African president called strip short over electricity crisis in his country. Welcome to Standard Voice Television News. I am Musa Joy Onyoza, and reading with me today is
Mariam Aminu. Thank you for joining us.
Now the news in full. Zamfara State Governor Dr. Bello Matawale Maradun has recently sworn in the newly appointed commissioners and special advisors with a charge on them 3-month probation so as to work and ensure that the state fulfills its potentials. The names of the commissioners and their portfolios are Suleiman Tunau, Information and Culture, Aminu Suleiman, Agriculture and Natural Resources, Abdul Qadri Buhari, Youth Development and Sports, Junaidu A. Mohammed, Water Resources. Others are Mohammed Sadiq Meiturare, Special Duties, Zainab Lawa Gumi, Women, Children and Social Development, Jamilu Aliu Zana, Education, Nura Isa, Environment and Solid Minerals, Rabiu Garoba, Finance. Also in the list are Sufianu Bashir Yuguda, Commerce, Industry and Tourism, Ibrahim Jibo Magayaki, Budget and Economic Planning, Yahaya Chado Gora, Local Government and Community Development, Yahya Mohammed Kanoma Health. The rest are Tukur Sani Jengebe, Religious Affairs, Ibrahim Isamayana, Works and Transport, Abubakar Abdullahi Safi, Rural Development and Cooperative, Barrister Nura Ibrahim Zarumi, Justice, Biliamini Yusuf Shinkafe, Science and Technology, and Abubakar Mohammed Dauran, Security and Home Affairs. The special advisors and their portfolios are Danyaro Abdullahi Fadamatri, Saidu Mohammed, Directorate of Afforestation, Yusuf Abubakar Zagu, Chieftaincy Affairs, Aliu Madawaki, Adafka Assembly Matters, Ahmed Mukhtar Mohammed, Rural Urban and Electrification and Telecommunication, Faika Ahmed Mohammed, Humanitarian Affairs and Disaster Management. Others are Aminu Abdullahi, Sustainable Development Goals, Ibrahim Maji, Political Affairs and Inter-Party Relations, Ghazali Shehu Ahmed, Strategies Development, Aminu Jelani, Ulama Consultative Council, Aliu S. Fawa, Deputy Governor Office, Umaru Sani Katuka, Protocol Affairs and Liaison Service, Ahmed Mohammed Bagu, Sports, Lukman Mejidadi, Scholarship, Bello Galadima, Labor Matters, Aminu Junaidu, Judicial Services Matters, and Rufai Abubakar Chiroma Zappa. A government statement says Umaru G. Mohammed, Coastal Housing and Urban Development, Zailani Bapa, Public Enlightenment and Media, Aminu Ilyasu, Skills Acquisition, Ahmed Mohammed Kabir, Road Maintenance Agency, Surajo Abdullahi Habib, Inter-Community Relations, and Sambo Garoba Marafa Zakareb. The rest are Lawal Abubakar Zana, Non-Governmental Organization, Abdurrahman Bala, Reconciliation and Conflict and Conflict Resolution, Dr. Rabi Ibrahim Investment, Sule Magayaki Project Monitoring, Abdullahi Krubin Bore, Directorate of Higher Education, Abdullahi Meturare, Accelerated Cotton Development, and Abubakar Musa Mafara, Land and Housing.
The House of Representatives has commenced an ambitious plan to separate the office of the Attorney General of the Federations from the office of the Minister of Justice. According to the House, separating the office will remove political interference in the activities of the AGF's office. The 8th National Assembly made futile attempts to separate the office as part of its constitution review. The 8th National Assembly made futile attempts to separate the office as part of its constitution review exercise. The state houses of assembly require at least a two-thirds majority to support the National Assembly. Efforts to endure this failed at the 8th Parliament. The 9th Assembly on Tuesday, however, took another look at the amendment proposed by the Majority House Whip Alhaji Muhammad Munguno to separate the two positions. Leading a debate on the bill, Munguno said the proposal was based on his experience as a former Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice in Borno State, stating that at the moment too much power is vested in the Minister or Commissioner for Justice by combining the two offices. Munguno said the powers vested in the Attorney General by the Constitution are judicial in nature, and when fully exercised, they could affect the rights of the people, which should not be exposed to political influence. The Chief Whip noted that the Attorney General had the powers to discontinue a case already in court, adding that recent development had suggested that it should be isolated from political interference. He also noted that while President Muhammadu Buhari should be free to make political consideration in the appointment of a Justice Minister, the appointment of the Attorney General should be based only on career progression. Seconding the motion, Mr. Nicholas Osai recalled that the bill was first passed by the 7th and 8th Assemblies. He stated that a particular office should not be vested with too much power. The Speaker, Femi Baja Biamila, after the bill was unanimously passed for second reading, referred it to the Committee on Legislative Matters for further legislative action. Also on Tuesday, the House passed for second reading another bill seeking to amend the Constitution to allow members of the National Judicial Council to appoint their secretary rather than being recommended for appointment by a lower body of the Federal Judicial Service Commission.
The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency on Tuesday in Lafayette destroyed 11,669 kilograms of narcotic drugs and psychotropic substances worth about 1.65 billion. According to Justice Arinze, commander of NDLEA in Nasarawa State, the exhibits were seized from dealers in the state. He said that the public destruction of recovered drug exhibits was part of the agency's strategy to permanently take drugs out of circulation. The commander gave the breakdown of the exhibit to include 8,632.82 kilograms of cannabis sativa and 3,636 kilograms of psychotropic substances such as tramadol, codeine, and Refnol. He said that dealers from whom the exhibits were seized had already been prosecuted before the Federal High Court in Lafayette. Mr. Arinze said the destruction of the drug was significant in view of their negative consequences on society, which include mental disorder, violent crimes, kidnapping, and other social vices. He assured members of the public of NDLEA's commitment to ridding Nasarawa of criminal drug syndicates seeking to make the state a hub of illicit drug cultivation, trafficking, and consumption. He appreciated Governor Abdullahi Sule for understating the imperative of collective responsibility in the drug fight by including the NDLEA in the State Security Council.
Jigawa, Kaduna, and Delta states have emerged first, second, and third respectively in the state's budget transparency in the country. This is contained in the 2018 reports of the Nigeria State Budget Transparency Survey unveiled in Kaduna on Tuesday. According to the report, Jigawa scored 87 points, Kaduna State 72 points, while Delta trailed with 64 points. The report also indicated that Bauchi, Borno, and Rivers State occupied the 33rd, 35th, and 36th positions respectively in the survey ranking. News Agency of Nigeria reports that the survey was conducted by Civil Resource Development and Documentation Center, Enugu, in partnership with Connecting Gender for Development and supported by DFID. Mr. Emmanuel Bonnet, Executive Director, Aid Foundation, who presented the report, explained that the survey focused on 3 key indicators. Bonnet identified the indicators as timely publication, budget information, public participation in the budget process, and transparent procurement processes, as well as system as entrenched in the open governance partnership. He said that on timely availability of key budget documents, Delta and Jigawa State scored 84 points, each followed by Kaduna State with 75 points. On public participation index, Jigawa got 100 points, followed by Lagos with 85 points and Anambra with 72 points, while Delta and Kaduna got 56 points each.
The Ilori Zonal Office of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has arrested 3 persons, including a school vice principal, for allegedly collecting money from the student for examination malpractice. This is contained in a statement signed by Mr. Wilson Ojure, Head of Media and Publicity of the Commission, and made available to the News Agency of Nigeria in Ilori on Tuesday. The statement said that the 3 persons were arrested at Government Day Secondary School, Ote, Kwara State, during the ongoing National Examination Council, NECO. It disclosed that the Commission received an intelligence report that the school management and supervisors of the center were extorting monies from students writing the examination in order to assist them. The statement said the secret was revealed when an operative of the Commission, dressed casually on December 6th, pretended to be a passerby and came to the school. It said an iPad containing answers to all the questions were recovered from the culprits, adding that the suspect will soon be charged to court.
Nigeria's Vice President Yomi Osibanjo has subtly condemned the SSS invasion of a court and rearrest of Omoyele Sowore by declining to receive an anti-corruption award days after the incident. Mr. Osibanjo, a law professor and senior advocate of Nigeria, has been criticized by many Nigerians for not commenting publicly on the Friday invasion of an Abuja Federal High Court by operatives of the State Security Service. In what can be considered his first public statement on the matter, Mr. Osibanjo told the Wole Soyinka Center for Investigative Journalism that he could not receive an award he had been given few days after the court fiasco. The Vice President said in view of the developments on Friday in the Sowore case, it would be insensitive and inappropriate to attend the ceremony. His statement to the organizers was on Monday shared with Premium Times by his spokesperson. Mr. Osibanjo has been named as the recipient of the Integrity Specialty of Anti-Corruption Defender Award for his invaluable work of overhauling the Lagos State Judiciary, facilitating far-reaching reforms in the administration of justice in the state. However, in a message to the organizers of the award, Mr. Osibanjo said though he accepts the award, he could not receive it at this time for 2 reasons. However, the 2 reasons are his absence, because he was in Abu Dhabi for an international meeting under the auspices of government of the UAE, where he was the keynote speaker. Secondly, he said in view of the developments on Friday in the Sowore case, it would be insensitive and inappropriate to attend the ceremony.
We'll be right back after this short commercial break. Stay tuned. Welcome back on Business. Aminu Mariam has more detail.
welcome to Business News. The Nigerian Action Aid, a non-governmental organization, has called for a review of the January 2020 deadline on the implementation of Tax Identification Number (TIN) policy for operating existing and new bank accounts by the federal government. The country director of Action Aid Nigeria, NAOB, made the call on Tuesday at the National Tax Summit jointly organized by Action Aid Nigeria in partnership with Tax Justice and Governance Platform in Abuja, the nation's capital. She said considering the high unemployment rate in the country, it has become increasingly difficult for the unemployed Nigeria to generate a TIN. The TIN initiative was proposed by the federal government, wherein it said from January 2020, Nigerians are required to produce tax identification number before they can operate existing or new accounts. The Action Aid boss suggested that Nigerians who already have a bank verification number (BVN) should be allowed to harmonize it with their TIN in order to achieve quick results. She further urged the federal government should take the idea for consultation and look at whether the idea is sellable or not. Mrs. Ene believes the country should be able to make tax work for Nigerians, especially those who earn very little. She explained that if money for taxes are harnessed enough and widened by means of industrialization to create jobs for the masses, the money can work for the nation. According to her, the two-day summit is seeking to look at people with multiple taxation, the issue of increase in VAT, and more corporate companies that can widen their tax base. In the address at the summit, the Assistant General Secretary of the Nigeria Labour Congress (NLC), James Eustins, called on government to widen the tax network and explore all possibilities to ensure that big businesses, big corporations pay their correct share of taxes to ensure that an effective regime is reviewed and implemented constructively to the benefit of Nigerians.
And on sports, Abubakar Sufyan has more detail.
Thank you, Joy Musa. My name is Abu Sufyan Abubakar, and as usual, I'm with the sports update. Nigeria's national team head coach Garnet Rowe has urged the Nigerian Football Federation (NFF) to focus on getting Ovi Ejaria rather than QPR's Eberich Eze to play for the national side. Both Ejaria and Eze have impressed so far this season and have both featured for England at under-21 level. Now it appears that the Nigerian head coach would rather prefer Ejaria to declare for the national side rather than his QPR counterpart. Ovi Ejaria is currently on loan with Rangers in Scotland from Liverpool FC and is expected to have a starting shift with Liverpool next season. And in the UEFA Champions League, Inter Milan have crashed out of the group stage of this season's UEFA Champions League after losing 2-1 to Barcelona in their final Group F game at the San Siro. Inter needed all 3 points to stand a chance of progressing into the knockout stages. But it was not to be, as Barcelona without skipper Lionel Messi won with goals from Carles Pires in the 22nd minute and upcoming star Ansu Fati in the 87th minute. Former Manchester United striker Romelu Lukaku had drawn Inter level on 44 minutes. In the other game in the group, Borussia Dortmund beat visiting Slavia Praha to advance to the next stage. Barcelona topped the group on 14 points while Dortmund are second on 10 points. Inter, 3 times Champions League winners, finished third on 7 points and will now feature in the Europa League this season. In Group H, last season's semi-finalists Ajax failed to qualify for knockout stage following their 1-0 home loss to 10-man Valencia. Ajax needed at least a draw to advance, but it was not to be as a 24th minute strike by Rodrigo ended their hopes. Valencia were reduced to 10 men following the sending off of former Arsenal defender Gabriel Paulista in the 90th minute. Up next for Ajax also is the Europa League after finishing third in the group with 10 points. At Stamford Bridge, Chelsea pick up the needed win to advance after beating already eliminated Loxley 2-1. Tammy Abrahams and Cesar Azpilicueta's goals ensured that for the Blues. Valencia emerged winners of the group on 11 points, the same point with second place Chelsea, but edged it on superior head-to-head record. In Group E, Liverpool put any doubt of qualifying for the next round away with a comfortable 2-0 away win over Salzburg. After a goalless first half, Naby Keita opened scoring for the reigning Champions League holders on 57th minute before Mohamed Salah made it 2-0 after a minute. Napoli joined Liverpool in the next round after thrashing Belgian club Genk 4-0 in Naples. Liverpool topped the group on 13 points and Napoli finished in second place after amassing 12 points. And in Group G, Bundesliga side RB Leipzig and French League 1 outfit Lyon are the two sides that made it to the next round. Zenit St. Petersburg will play in the UEFA Cup. And on the ongoing Standard Voice football competition, Zamcharity defeated Damba FC on Monday 1-0 to progress to the final. And we saw celebrities defeated famous Zamfarians on Tuesday on penalties to meet Zamfara Charity for the finals. The date of the finals will be communicated to viewers in due time. And that's all we have on sports today. Back to Joy in the studio.
Thank you, Sufyan. And on the international scene, South African President Cyril Ramaphosa on Tuesday cut short an official visit to Egypt because of an electricity crisis brewing in his country. The presidential spokesperson confirmed that the president came under increasing criticism after the country's embattled power utility ESCOM enforced scheduled power cuts that have thrown the country into disarray and pose a threat to the economy. John Stevenson, leader of the main opposition Democratic Alliance, led a picket outside ESCOM headquarters in Johannesburg on Tuesday, saying the rolling blackout threatened to throw the country's economy over a precipice. For the past 6 days and intimately over the past decade, ESCOM has enforced load shedding whereby power is cut for anything from 2 to 4 hours at a time in a bid to review pressure on the national grid. Roads become gridlocked because traffic lights don't function, businesses have to close, shopping centers are left in the dark, and mines have to halt operations. That has been the news from Standard Voice Television. To end the news, a quick look at the major headlines. Zamfara government releases names of commissioners and their portfolios. Representatives move to split Justice Minister and AGF. NDLEA destroys 11,669 kg of illicit drugs worth over 1 billion naira in Nasarawa State. On business, a non-governmental organization calls for a review of the January 2020 deadline on the implementation of the tax identification number. On sports, Nigeria head coach wants Algeria to declare for Super Eagles. On the international scene, South African president cut trip short over electricity crisis in his country. All these and other stories of the Svtv can be viewed via our social media platform. That's the news on behalf of
Mariam Aminu.
I still remain Musa Joy Onyoda. Stay tuned.